Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize to each of you for missing your opening statements, but I was in another committee. I have 5 minutes, and I would like each of you to give me 30 seconds on why you think premiums have risen, and another 30 seconds each on what you think we should do about it. Mr. Gordon?
So the primary cost factors for rising homeowners insurance costs, it's primarily the demographic shifts of people moving into more climate riskier areas and building more expensive homes. 40-year record inflation is the next biggest component. And then the building material inflation has outpaced the underlying inflation. And then you add into that climate change and legal system abuse and regulatory costs. And that's why the natural disaster costs in homeowners insurance are going up. The best way to offset that is through more mitigation.
What's up, Patriots? Welcome back to the channel where we talk truth, common sense, and America First values. Today, we got another gem out of D.C., and no surprise, it's our guy, Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, doing what he does best, asking the questions that nobody else has the guts to ask. Senator Kennedy grills a panel of witnesses on the rising cost of homeowners insurance and, more importantly, who should be footing the bill for climate mitigation. Now, let me walk you through what happened in this hearing. And then I'm going to give you the unfiltered, unapologetic, right-wing American reaction this country needs to hear. So Kennedy asks, why are homeowners insurance premiums going through the roof? Mr. Gordon steps up and lists all the usual suspects. People moving into riskier areas, inflation, building material costs, and of course climate change. Now listen, some of that is fair. Inflation under the Biden administration has been out of control. That's what happens when you print money like it's toilet paper and spend trillions on bloated government handouts.
I'm sorry, it's through what?
More mitigation and resiliency, improved building codes, wildfire prepared standards, fortified building standards. When you look at, if you analyze Hurricane Ian, which was the second worst insured loss event in history, if that had hit Florida before all of Florida's building code reforms, it would have been closer to a Hurricane Katrina loss event. And so you see entire neighborhoods in Florida.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I want to make sure everybody has a chance. Mr. Epstein?
Sure. So, yeah, the basic failures that are causing premiums to rise. So the government has failed at climate resilience, which is the most important thing. So in the case where it's the government-controlled things like the forests in California, they've just totally failed to manage those properly. Sometimes they inhibit people from managing their own property. So that's part one, is failing at resilience. Part two is actively encouraging people to take on risk that they wouldn't take in a free market, which happens, encouraging people, like all these disaster relief things just end up subsidizing people taking more risk, and they create these cascading problems. So the solutions are simple. We want to get rid of all the green policies that inhibit resilience, and we want a totally free market in insurance so that people aren't encouraged to take on undue risk.
Thank you. Madam Supervisor?
So the changing climate has led to catastrophic disasters in my county and across California, as you know. What can be done is a continued investment in infrastructure, hardening homes and community, forest health, and fuel management programs.
Mr. Newman?
Thank you, Senator. I agree with Mr. Gordon on all of his reasons why property insurance price is increasing. Of those, risk is the only one a homeowner has any control over. And so disaster mitigation has to be part of the solution to drive down insurance costs. But not just any disaster mitigation, our risk reduction needs to be grounded in science and verified. It's those two features that provide the bridge from the actions of a homeowner to the insurance industries. What I can tell you is that when you do that, insurers will pay attention.
All right, let's go in.
Oh, that is awesome.
Let's go in reverse order. I think each of you mentioned mitigation. When I hear mitigation, I also hear money. Who do you think should pay for the mitigation, and how should we pay for it? Mr. Newman?
Senator, we all have an obligation to pay for mitigation. That falls on individuals, on homeowners and families. That falls on every level of government, and the private sector needs to pitch in as well.
Madam Supervisor?
I agree. This is all of our responsibility at the local level, all the way up to the federal level, because we know who has to come in and clean up after a catastrophic
So you
event.
think local should contribute?
I think everyone has a part to play.
You think local should contribute?
I think, yes,
Okay.
there is a part to play locally.
Mr. Epstein?
I mean, in general, as much as possible, the people taking on the risk, so as individual as possible. And you know, if the government does something very specifically disastrous, then maybe it owes damages, but yeah, you want risk to be as individual as possible.
Mr. Gordon?
So the single most cost-effective wildfire safety standard is just simply moving the dry brush and plants 5 feet away from your home to create a defensible perimeter. California actually required that in law, but never implemented that in regulation. So there are very cost-effective things that you can do, homeowners can do, communities can do, if we guide them in the right direction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
On behalf of the chairman, Senator Tillman.
But then we get the climate change line. And folks, every time they say climate change, what they really mean is we need more government control, more taxes, and more regulations. That's the playbook. Next up is Mr. Epstein, and I'll say this. The man made some solid points. He said the government is failing at climate resilience. Look at California. Forests mismanaged. Bureaucrats stopping people from cleaning up their own land. It's a disaster made by government red tape. And then there's the part that really hit home. Government programs are incentivizing risk. When the government guarantees disaster relief, people build homes in high-risk areas thinking, oh, well, Uncle Sam will bail me out. That's backwards, folks. That's socialism disguised as safety. Epstein was right. If you subsidize risk, you get more of it. And what's the solution? Simple. Asterisk-free market insurance. Let people take responsibility for their own choices. Amen. Then you've got the California Supervisor. And surprise, surprise, her answer is more government investment. Hardening homes, infrastructure, managing forests, etc. Now look, I'm not against smart planning. But when someone from California starts preaching about managing forests, it's almost laughable. This is the same state that's let millions of acres of forest become fire tinder because of radical environmentalist policy. They shut down logging, ban clearing brush, and then cry climate change when wildfires rage. What she's really asking for is more federal dollars, more bureaucracy, and more control. Mr. Newman chimes in, backing Gordon's points and saying we need mitigation that's science-based and verified. Now listen, I'm all for science. But I'm not for a politicized science that gets twisted to justify every new tax, fee, and regulation under the sun. We've seen what the science gets us when it's left in the hands of unelected bureaucrats. It gets us mask mandates, lockdowns, and trillions wasted. Mitigation? Sure. But it needs to be voluntary, local, and respect freedom. You don't fix problems by turning homeowners into servants of the state. And here's where Kennedy hits them with the million-dollar question. Who should pay for all this mitigation? Newman and the California Supervisor say, everyone should. Local, state, federal, individuals, corporations. Basically, asterisk everyone but the bureaucrats themselves. Epstein's answer? It's the right one. The people taking the risk should bear the cost. That's the conservative principle right there. You live in a flood zone. You want to build your dream house in the middle of a fire-prone forest? That's your right. But you take the risk, you pay the price. Don't come crying to D.C. for a bailout when nature does what it's always done. And Gordon, of all people, actually gave one good, low-cost idea. Clear brush and dry plants 5 feet from your house. Simple, cheap, effective, and yet California passed a law for that, but never actually enforced it. Typical. You don't need trillion-dollar climate bills to protect your property. You need common sense and freedom to act locally without Big Brother telling you what kind of rake you can use. Look, patriots, here's the bottom line. Rising insurance premiums are a symptom of a bigger disease, a bloated, incompetent government trying to control every part of your life, then blaming you when it all goes wrong. We don't need more regulations. We need freedom. We don't need more federal spending. We need responsibility. And we definitely don't need more green ideology driving our insurance markets into the ground. Mitigation starts at home, not in Washington, D.C. If you agree, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your neighbors who are sick and tired of paying for someone else's bad decisions. Stay strong, stay free, and stay American. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.